Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe, and another Walking Dead universe Q&A video for this week. Wanted to make sure I got it done good and early this week because last week we didn't get a chance to do one this early in the week, and I usually like to do them around Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, so I figured I was like, alright, you know, we'll do one today. Go through all your reactions from San Diego Comic-Con. So, yeah, I want to get started with a pretty interesting topic, actually. I had a lot of people informing me on this one, which this one comes from Iron, who says that, Dan, honestly, I'm very, very surprised by this, but Greg Nicotero made a comment about Walking Dead fans and how he doesn't like the internet for, criticizing The Walking Dead and criticizing entertainment in general, and he kind of called people out. I wanted to get your thoughts on that in general. So, yeah, I did see that. I saw an interview with him where he kind of discussed the idea that his least favorite thing of all time is internet critics for entertainment, and he doesn't like them, and he finds they're unfair and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And he says that they shouldn't judge it so quickly, they should watch it first and then, judge it. Well, as a content creator myself, and as a YouTuber myself that's been doing this for a very long time, I have to kind of say to Greg Nicotero, and this is my response to him, so if anybody has any connections, obviously feel free to send this his way. I really would like him to actually kind of see this, admittedly. This is my reaction to Greg Nicotero simply is, listen, it's not easy doing what we do, and we cover a lot of entertainment, and what we do here is we like to discuss the things that we like and the things we dislike. And the only way that we talk about something we dislike is if we've watched it, and then we don't like it, and then we talk about it, you know what I mean? Now, I understand, definitely from my perspective, I've definitely complained about how certain things have looked in trailers, and then I've watched the episodes, and I've been proven wrong. Or it looks really great in a trailer, and I compliment that, and then it's really bad on a TV show. The purpose of trailers and entertainment is to give you an idea whether or not you're going to like something or you're not going to like something. You know what I mean? So, of course, we're going to talk about something before it happens. Doesn't mean I'm judging the product. It means I'm voicing my concerns. That's what that means. And if you're not talking about that, then it's me, obviously had seen the product, whether it's the movie or the TV show, and I'm sitting there saying, I either love this or I don't like this, you know what I mean? And in every single one of my reviews, I go into the reasonings of why I don't like or I like said things, and I go into why I don't or I do. And if you're talking about the criticizing of the modern Walking Dead universe, because I'm sure that's what he's alluding to, listen, Greg, you're a great director, man. You're a great, creator of this Walking Dead world, because I would consider you a creator. You've made the zombies. You've done a lot of amazing work over the years, and I think you're an absolutely talented man. You really are, and I give you full credit for that. Not only for The Walking Dead, but for all those incredible things you've done over the course of your career. I've followed it. It's really good. You know what I mean? But my message to Greg Nicotero is, don't criticize the way we do things, because guess what? We're the reason you're on the air. That's the thing. We are, as fans, we are the viewers that keep your things running. You know what I mean? We are the reason why things happen. We are the reason why you continue to get renewed for other seasons. And we are the reason why The Walking Dead has stayed on the air for almost 15 years. Actually, almost 15 years. So that's my kind of answer to him, saying that, yeah, we will judge things based off of the trailers and voice our opinions on whether or not we think it's going to be good or bad. It's not because we are judging it right away. It's because we are giving our honest thoughts. We are, reviewers. We are critics. We are stuff like that. And that is how we do things. Obviously, we got to talk about how it looks based off the trailer and predict whether or not we're going to like it or not. And then whether we do or whether we don't after we watch the product is a whole other thing. But if you're talking about the modern day Walking Dead universe, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but it has not been the quality of the original Walking Dead, and there are definitely problems in the writing, and I think a lot of Walking Dead universe fans would agree with me with that it is not the same quality as the old Walking Dead.
You are nothing without me. You are nothing without me! All you do is bake and bake and bake.
And if it ends up happening at one point, then that's awesome. But we always talk about the quality of the writing, whether it's good or bad. So that's the way we operate, you know what I mean? So when he said that, I was like, man, like, we as fans, we are the viewers, you know what I mean? We are the reason why your numbers are even up at all. And trust me when I say your numbers are not that great with Walking Dead these days. So you may want to be careful on how you kind of say that, because I'm telling you right now, we are just here for entertainment. We are just here to talk about how things work. And we are here to criticize whether we think it's good or it's bad. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I would look at it. So I would respectfully say that I disagree with that comment 100%. And I would say that this is what we do. And if you give us good entertainment, then we will acknowledge that if we believe it is. But if we don't believe it is, then we will not acknowledge that as good entertainment. You know what I mean? And him saying, well, we got to, judge it before you watch it. You can't judge it before you watch it type of thing. Well, listen, what do you want us to do? When you give us a trailer, the trailer has to be presentable. Whether or not it looks good or it doesn't look good, that's what we talk about. It's not because I'm saying, oh, the movie is crap. I'm sure you guys have noticed that, right? One of the things I never do in my reviews is talk about how, oh, this is going to suck, I never do that, even as bad as a trailer looks, because you never know what the final product is going to be. And I think that's what he's trying to acknowledge, is that we judge, certain seasons of the Walking Dead spinoffs based off the trailers, and then, you watch it and it's actually good, you know what I mean? If that's what he's talking about, my simple answer to that is, listen, a trailer will still give you knowledge on at least a first impression, and I predict what I think it will be like, the quality of what it will be like, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to sit there and say, oh, it's going to suck. No, it makes, you may sit there and kind of see me say, okay, that trailer doesn't look good. I definitely have low expectations on this movie or this TV show because of said reason, but it doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and concrete just say right off the bat, oh yeah, that's going to be bad. You know what I mean? Like, no, I never do that, because you never know what you're going to come out with. Even Fear the Walking Dead, one of the worst Walking Dead spinoffs of all time. That show, even when the trailers came out, they were good. You know what I mean? And I would compliment that when they were good, because when something's good, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if I dislike the show in general. I dislike the hell out of Fear the Walking Dead, I don't think it's on par at all with the original Walking Dead, but it doesn't mean that when something good comes out of Fear the Walking Dead, I don't compliment it. You guys know, I can't stand Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, but I actually like Season 8, Episode 8. You guys know that. The Charlie episode, the death episode for Charlie, I actually like that episode, and I remember I complimented that when I can. I do look for things to compliment. So this is really just me speaking for the overall reviewing community here and the reaction community and for everybody that's involved, because there's some incredible content creators that are out there. I can think of a good few, you know what I mean? Mr. Williams and, Movie Idol and, Overace Gamer and all these people, that come together. Walking Dead Explained. There's a lot of people that review The Walking Dead and, do it in a great way, you know what I mean? So we're the reason why your shows are even still happening. Without viewers, you don't have anything. So, keep in mind, on that end of things, we are here to support the franchise that we've been invested in for a long time. And even though I would argue it's been very difficult to stick with it over the last couple years, ever since the original show ended, we show up every time there's a premiere. We show up every time there's a new spinoff. So, if we want to say that a trailer looks kind of then we will say that, and we will continue to say that. So this is more so me also speaking for the Walking Dead reviewer and reaction community in general here when I say, and if you guys are content creators, we always try to look for good things. We always try to look for things that we enjoy, you know what I mean? But if something's bad and we've seen it and we know it's bad, yeah, we're going to talk about that 100%. And trailers are indicators of whether or not we think we will like or dislike something. So we will continue to do that because that is what we do. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my answer towards that. I know a lot of people have had a lot of questions on what I think about that. It's kind of been a bit of a popular one ever since he brought it up. And that is my, very simple, hopefully, answer towards that comment. I don't think that was necessary. I also don't think that that is necessarily a accurate statement. I think that he definitely, kind of was looking at it in a bit of a different perspective than I am, at least. But, let me know your 2 cents about it down below, and how do you feel about it? Do you think that us reviewers are too judgy of things right away? I wouldn't say we are at all. Absolutely not, because I like to reserve my thoughts full on until I see the actual product. So I would say that, I would say that we do our jobs as reviewers. And anybody else that watches my content that's a reviewer, I think you could probably agree with that statement as well. So there's my kind of comments on that situation right there. The next one comes from Andre, who says that, Dan, honestly, I've been following your videos for a very, very long time, and I've honestly seen how happy and how much you were trying to get this to happen for Daryl Dixon to be the final season with season 4. Glad you finally got your wish. Yeah, I noticed a lot of y'all saying that. Listen, I pushed for it mostly because I don't think we need to mess around in other countries for 8 seasons, you know? I don't think it's that type of show to have that type of longevity to it. Admittedly, if you want my honest opinion, I'm kind of surprised we got 4 seasons. I kind of thought when the Daryl show started, I was like, okay, we'll get like maybe 2 seasons, you know, maybe 3 seasons at most, you know. 4 seasons, it's pretty surprising, I'm not gonna lie. But again, good for Norman, you know what I mean? It's good for him. I'm glad he was able to have a little European vacation, you know what I mean? And he's still got one more season to film. He's filming it right now, which hopefully there is a reunion with Rick involved in that whole thing. Yeah, you know, and, you know, I did see a comment from Norman Reedus. He did say in an interview that apparently the ending is very satisfying, which, I'm really hoping that means that it is the ending with him seeing Rick again. I'm hoping that that's what it is, you know what I mean? Because, again, you know, you're pushing for a satisfying ending. Well, that's about the only satisfying ending, I think, to the regular viewers that people would actually jump out of their seats and say, oh my god, you know? If it ain't that, I feel like people are not going to be satisfied. I feel like people will be saying, oh, he came back home, okay, you know? And if it's Daryl not arriving home, then that can't be a satisfying, you know, ending. So, to me, the only satisfying ending to the Daryl Dixon show is him getting back home, seeing Rick, and them having like an episode together or something. You know, I think that would be fantastic. But again, it all depends on Andy's schedule. I'm surprised, you know, we haven't really heard about anything there. But, you know, Andy as well, you know, does he want to do it? Because I feel like Andy would want to do it, you know? I feel like he is, you know, one that would be down to do it. So I'm hoping that they've reached out and they've done some kind of an arrangement to where they can make that happen. But again, you know, we'll have to see. It's tough to tell. It really is. But I think that would be really cool, you know, if they were to do that. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. That's kind of why I wanted the show to end as well, too. Not because I don't love Daryl. I absolutely adore Daryl's character, but I wanted to get to the reunions that were the most important, right? And that mattered more to me than watching a endless Daryl spinoff. It just did. It's that simple. It mattered more to me. Because Daryl's journey is far from over, as they say, right? So, right there, it's like, okay, well, then there you go. So, yeah, it's a whole thing, you know what I mean? But, again, that's kind of my overall thoughts on that right there. That's kind of, you know, what I would say about that. But, again, it goes to show you, right? It's like, listen, you know, we're not asking for much. We just want a reunion with Rick and Daryl, a reunion that we were robbed of at the end of the original series that we should have gotten, and a reunion that we were also robbed of in The Ones Who Live. I mean, for crying out loud, Norman Reedus was on the set of The Ones Who Live, if you didn't know. So, I mean, like, they really have milked this one for all they can, and honestly, it's really ridiculous. So, I'm hoping next year they finally get their crap together and finally do the reunion that we want. Norman Reedus saying it's a satisfying ending, and he emphasizes on that, is definitely a good sign, for sure. It definitely is a good sign. However, he also said the season 2 finale of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, is the best Walking Dead of all time, which I would highly disagree with that. So, I mean, yeah, it's hard to tell, but I will say, I hope he's right that it is a satisfying conclusion. I do partially believe him, you know what I mean, because it's Norman saying this, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. I do hope it's satisfying, and I do hope it's the reunion with Rick. That would be great. The next one comes from The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead Universe fan group channel, who says that, Dan, honestly, I just want a crossover series. Do you think that's at all possible, given this brand new news of Daryl ending with Season 4? I think it's more likely than it was before the news, for sure, because I think that, you know, well, Gimple's even talked about it. He would like the idea of doing a crossover show at one point. Is that in the near future, in the next few years? Hard to say. But it definitely is one of those ones where it's like, okay, it would be nice if they went that route. I'm hoping they go that route. I think it would be the smart idea to go that route. It's what all the fans have been asking. And also, I feel like it would make you feel like you watch these spinoffs for a reason if they all collide into one, you know, greater thing. I think a lot of people would agree with that. It would feel more like it actually had an actual purpose, you know what I mean? Because, again, I mean, you guys know me. You all know my opinions. I don't think these spinoffs needed to happen. I think they just did this to keep their paychecks and their bank accounts looking good. I think if they actually did a crossover event with the reunion with all the characters that we love, then that would actually be a real story reason to do a Walking Dead season. These shows, these spinoffs, are not real reasons to do a Walking Dead spinoff, I don't think. And you would say like, oh, well, what do you mean? They're exploring different locations and stuff. Yeah, you could do that at any time with any content with an actual story to it. These are just to visit new locations, and it's very obvious to me. And they wrap a story around it. Like, they're like, oh, you want, like, someone in the writer's room just says, oh, you want to go to Spain, And it's like, well, what could we do in Spain? And it's like, I don't know. And then it's like, I got an idea, like that's the process. I would guarantee you that's the process, It doesn't take a genius to realize that's what it is. That's why they kept moving around, So I don't know. My just kind of opinion on this whole situation is I think they got canceled. I think season 4 was not supposed to be the final season. I think they were going to push for it even longer, and somebody shut them down. You know what I mean? And I think that's the reason why they're so quiet about it, is because I don't think that they're going to reveal that information. I believe that they were canceled. I believe that was, not supposed to be the final season. But obviously, they're not going to come out and say that was the case. They never did with Fear. They never did with Walking Dead, and they both were told to shut the thing down. So, it goes to show you. They say, oh, we totally decided to end around that time. Yeah, sure you did. Sure you did, right? So, yeah, that's kind of my opinions on that whole situation right there. Ridiculous. And then the next one comes from Nix, who says, and we'll make this the final one. The next one comes from Nix, who says that, Dan, honestly, I just want this whole thing to be over. I want The Walking Dead to come to an end at one point or another and say goodbye to this whole thing and let it be done. I get that. I definitely get that. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Daryl's going to have a reunion with Rick, hopefully next year, which is some substance. It is. However, I've said this before, and I don't care. Once you have a reunion with Rick and Daryl, you're not going to catch me complaining about what they do. You're not. You're not going to... obviously, I'm still going to flaw if the writing of the spinoffs are bad, whatever they do going forward. Of course, I'm a reviewer, right? Greg, I'm a reviewer, But that's not what it is. Me more so, it's me sitting there saying, listen, I'm going to give the spinoffs the credit they deserve, right? Obviously, all the time. If they're good, if they're bad, whatever. But I'm not going to care anymore. Once you do the reunion with Rick and you do the reunion with Daryl, I'm not going to complain about all these, oh, you want to do a Mexico spinoff. You want to do an Australia spinoff. You want to do a space spinoff, I don't care. There's only one other thing I would complain about. Only one time you'd catch me actually passionately complaining about something post the Rick and Daryl reunion. If you ever sent any of our main characters that we know and love to space, then I would complain. I would say, what are you doing? Like, genuinely, what are you doing? But aside from that, I would say, no, do whatever you want. Have them travel wherever they want. Do whatever nonsense you want to do. Just reunite Rick and Daryl, and I don't really care what you do. You want to end the franchise, which they're not going to. There's a whole other phase coming up. But let's say you wanted to. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? I don't care. Just reunite those characters and then do whatever you want to do in this franchise, as long as it does not include our characters going to space and maybe the death of Rick. You know what I mean? That's one you definitely should not do at this point. So, we'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what kind of ends up panning out here from this whole thing. But let me know how you feel and your thoughts down below. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, guys, make sure to click subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.